Hello, welcome everybody, welcome. Happy December April 10th of 2024 on a glorious Wednesday. This is going to be a welcoming of that way of how it is. This is a Virgo reading, so I know if anybody is a Virgo, they want to watch it. If you're not a Virgo, it's okay because you want to pay attention to if it happens to you in different ways. So, we have our own way of to understand it. I will give you some advice where it's the exception of know what's going to happen. Things are going to change bit by bit. Even we had passed this eclipse and the solar eclipse that happened in Aries. Now sometimes I don't even know about astrology a little bit, but please keep in mind that I'm still technically new about it because I've been doing tarot for a long time, right? And it's as simple as knowing the facts and understand about that, right? Because this is how it's going to go. If it's going to go a different way, it goes a different way. If it understands that, it does that, right? It shows. And it's a pleasing thing, right? So, it's the way of how you can understand that and hopefully involves because there is a way of knowing what to do, and this is how it seems to be. So, before I get started, please give it a comment, give it a like, and this is how it seems to be. So, I know that everything is gonna go all fine dandy. I'm going to tell you what's gonna happen. So this is a very way of how it is. It says choose duties and responsibilities carefully. Eclipse in Virgo, reorganization. So we're going to start with that. We're going to start with that biological theory of what's going to happen, because things will change as they go along, and it's the way of how it's going to be. So we know that there's going to be how seems to be in that known of understanding because this is how it seems to be because understanding the way of how it is. This could be maybe the undershock, maybe it could be how it's going to be and how it's going to be seemingly of it. So, this is like almost a, understanding of how it goes because, it's the way of how everything seems to be, right? So you have to keep yourself, high and everything else and enjoy about that, okay? So let's get started. So As as I can say is that we have the Page of Pentacles is upright, the Six of Pentacles reversed. You have the Five of Swords is upright, which means that you're having conflict with somebody. Maybe that could be still ongoing. The Two of Swords, you don't know which direction you're going to take, left or right. And the Nine of Cups reversed. And you have Five of Pentacles that you could be maybe don't want to go into poverty or you're low on money funds, whatever it is. But you know what, Virgo? You look at self, you look at yourself and say if this is going to be all right to you, okay? Because you have to look at yourself and have a clear picture. And when you have a clear picture, everything has to be all, biological estimation, because you see it as a wonderful feeling, right? And you know how it is, you know how it goes, and it's the step in the right direction. Now I will actually clarify. I will clarify these reverse cards here, but except for the uprights, these seem to be fine, but you never know, right? So everything is all shuffled and all good. So I want to see how that is. Let's see. The lovers is upright. Yeah. And this one over here. Yeah, the Five of Cups, that's reversed. Oh, interesting. Okay, right? So you are in love with somebody, I can tell. Virgo. You're having conflict with somebody, so you could be having a love and hate relationship in some way, somehow. Because you don't know which you're going to take, left or right, but you have to decide about that, right? So you understand about that. Um, let's see. Also, it's about that card. You have the King of Swords reverse is you have no knowledge. Interesting. Interesting. You have no knowledge. Well, there is a way of how it is, right? It could be that this is a you know idealistic of how it is, right? It's the way of how everything kind of moves, in some way and somehow. Want to see what's also that card, please? You have the Hermit that's reversed. Okay, so you're not looking for a soulmate because you already have a soulmate. That's very interesting. Um, it's very interesting of how it kind of is conquested. Um, because in that aspect, you know exactly what's going to happen. Because these things happen in one way. If you have a love and hate relationship, one day you're loving with somebody, another day you hating somebody. Now, the word hate is a negative feeling. Okay. Now, I'm not going to be mean or rude to all of you. No. But, Virgo, if you keep yourself, you know, biological estimation and you have a wonderful feeling, you have to look at it. You have to look at it from a different way, a different angle, a different, mannerism, whatever it is. And these things can happen as they go along. It could happen from days, weeks, months, even years, right? But it has to be all, you know, the same way as it is, right? You have to put yourself into perspective. Now, yes, it's hard to put yourself in perspective, but there are things that you're trying to consider. It's a go with the flow, right? And slow and steady wins the race, obviously. But you have to remember that you have to believe on what's happening, right? Because in order to dignify it, or having your own crazy way, it's the way of how to understand that, because whether you seem to be all great and what have you, things will go a different way. Only you have to look at them. It's the way of how you can see it as in order to believe it, right? And it's the way of how it is. Because, like I say, if you understand that you know exactly which they're going to take, left or right, it all depends on you. It is, right? Because, if you're in love with somebody, that's fine. If you're making the other person jealous or anything like that, that's negative too, right? Because, it's the way of how it is. Now, progress is how it seems to be, but you have to remember that there are both sides of a situation. There are two sides of the story here. If you have a love and hate relationship, you have to think. You have to think to yourself and say, okay, do you like this person? Okay. And then you look at it from a different way. No, I don't like that person. You see the difference, right? So think about it. Think about how everything has to be all great because, it could happen, right? It all depends because this is how it seems to be, right? Because this is a time frame and you have to know exactly how that time frame goes, right? So anyway, let's keep going. So you understand about that. What's also about that card, please? You have the Ace of Cups reversed is you have no satisfaction. That's very interesting. No satisfaction. Okay. So you have no satisfaction whatsoever. Okay. What's else about that card, please? Yeah, the Hierophant. That's up, right? So you're trying to be a hero. It could happen, right? It's the balancing way of how it is, right? Because you're trying to figure something out. So you're trying to believe in your own self. Um, what's else about that card, please? Yeah, the Eight of Pentacles, that's upright. Yeah, because you're thinking about your career, you think about what's happening, everything is all, different, biological, right? Which is how it seems to be. So we're not kind of over about this reading yet. But what I'm going to do now is I want to see what's going to happen with the other cards that I'm going to show you, Virgo. Okay, so this is going to be as you're winning, as you're um, reading, because there's more to this equation, right? I'm not going to give you numbers as your equation, but I want to see what's going to happen. So you have the Ace of Fire because you have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. You have the Star that's kind of reversed, but I'll put in an upright position. And then you have the Seven of Fire is upright, right? So I'm just going to put it here. Okay. Now I want to put the Eight of Air is upright here. I want to put the Six of Water here with the Knight of Fire is up here. And lastly, but not least, you have the High Priestess. Now this is a very interesting way, right? This is how it is. Okay, so your reading is getting bigger and bigger and bigger at the moment, Virgo. And I always say this to my readings. I always say, slow and steady wins the race, and this is how it is. But everything has to be all, combined together, right? A bigger, and it gets bigger, right? And this is how it goes because you have to think to yourself. In order to think to yourself, you know exactly what's going to happen, right? Because there are two sides of a story here. If you're having conflict with somebody, if you're not going to have conflict, you could be dealing with fire signs, air signs, water signs. It's that logical estimation, because everything has to be all corrected and everything has to be all, smashed together. But this is how it seems to be because you have to let yourself to continue on. It's how the story is from start, middle, and end. But that's how it seems to be. But let's keep going, shall we? So this is how it seems to be, right? Because now we know that, okay, everything has to be all corrected. Now, I'm putting the Virgo over here so you know how it is, okay? So it is going to be a little bit funky. That's a good word to say. Because you have the Page of Pentacles is upright, right? So I'm just going to do this. So this is how it is. And then you have the Lovers that's upright here. Now you have the Six of Pentacles that's reversed here. You have the Five of Swords is upright. Five of Pentacles is upright. Then you have the Two of Swords, which direction you're going to take, left or right. You have the Eight of Pentacles that's upright. You have the Hierophant that's upright. Now, all of these reverse cards, like you have the Ace of Cups is satisfaction, so you have no satisfaction. You have, you have your soulmate, I can tell, right? Then you have knowledge. So you have no knowledge. You have the Five of Cups that's reversed, and then you have the Nine of Cups that's reversed. So you could see that, right? You can see this whole entire reading. Okay, so it gets getting bigger and bigger and bigger. But we don't know what the universe is saying. We don't know what's going to happen. So I'm just going to say it bit by bit that everything is changing. So I want to see what's going to happen because I want to know. I know that card. I know what's up to that card. That card. That card. That card. I'll leave the Five of Swords alone because I want to see what's going to happen. So I want to know. So you have the Nine of Cups that's reversed, so there's no romance. That's very interesting. Okay, so we know that there was no romance. Then you have the Seven of Wands reversed. There's no resilience. That's interesting. Okay. You have the King of Cups, so you have support. Okay, that's interesting. Then you have Temperance, now you're healing. And then you have the Eight of Pentacles that's reversed. There's no perfection. Okay. Alright, I'm kind of getting somewhere in this reading. So you were acting like there was lovers here, and then you're thinking, well, I don't think that there was lovers here. Because now everything kind of shifted, right? It's the way of being shifted, right? So I want to try to figure this out. Want to see. I want to figure this out in some way and somehow. Check out that card. That card. That card. So we have the sun that's upright. So you could be dealing with a Leo as a fire sign. You have, okay, the Emperor that's reversed. Okay. And you have the Hangman that's upright, means you have restrictions. Okay, it's the way of how it is. Yeah, yeah. So you could be dealing with another Scorpio because you could be, in love with him whenever it is. Like you could be still having that conflict where you're going to see that there could be jealousy in some way, right? Jealousy is what jealousy does, right? Because there's no proof whatsoever. But I want to see what's the opposite of the Emperor. The Fool is change. Yeah, so basically you are changing in some way and somehow because you could be changing after the conflict that you had, and then everything is all boosted in some way because you could have like what I'm going to say is that this is a love and hate relationship, whether if you're dealing with lots of it could be partners or friends or whatever. There are things that you're trying to consider, and you do that as a wonderful feeling. But this is a understanding about how everything is, right? It's almost like a stepping stone. Only you get the chance of knowing what direction you're going to take, left or right. And there are things that you're trying to consider, and I'm not trying to be mean or rude to you, Virgo, but there are things that you're trying to remember that you can do whatever you can, and things can switch automatically. But you have to remember that you have to be logical to understand about what's happening. I'm just a reader, but I'm just telling you what the cards are saying, because if you are having a love and hate relationship, or you're not getting along, or you're having conflict, or you have to be as like a gentle lady or a woman, whatever it is, and you have to act like there's nothing happening to you. But if your emotions switch, and if they are between a happy or sad or anything, you have to change it around. Changing is what changing does. And you have to remember that if you're making the other person jealous or some way, it's not going to happen. It's not. Because jealousy is not the best policy. No. Because you're sending someone the wrong message. You're sending that, you know, um, what is it called? Body language. You're sending it to a different way, right? So you have to remember that this is your quality to not to understand what's going to happen, right? If you're having confused with your feelings, if you don't know what to do, you have to look at yourself and say, am I doing the right job here? Am I doing the right thing? And that's why I'm trying to tell you what the cards are saying. If you understand that, there is a way of knowing what to do, this is how it seems to be. Because you have to look at this, right? Do you see it? Yeah, I see it. It's a more pretty picture, isn't it? Yeah, right? Because this is what it is. Now, the universe, I want to see what the universe is saying. I'm not going to say at the bottom of the deck, but at the bottom of the deck of the Six of Cups, you have basically the past. That was an upright situation, right? You could be that. The Seven of Cups is delusion, so you could be having that. It could be, the Eight of Cups is introspection. Nine of Cups is fulfillment. 10 of Cups is completion. And then you have the Wheel of Fortune that's reversed is karma. Like reversed is you're having bad luck. So there are things that you're trying to consider if you are understanding about what's going to happen in that direction. You have to see it as in order to understand that, because this is like, a different way, right? And, not to be mean or rude, but this is how it seems to be. So I want to do this. I want to see what the universe is saying between an upright card way of what the universe is saying. So I want to see what what's happening with the lovers. So I'll put what's opposite of the Leo, what's opposite of the King of Cups, the Temperance, and then the Hangman. I want to see what the universe is saying to that. Okay, so you know how I said that there's the lovers here? Look at this now. You have the lovers again. So you both are love. I don't know why I said both, but Virgo, you're in love, okay? But you're still having this conflict. You know, you had the Four of Swords is upright because you could be feeling like you're gonna have a nap, or you don't know what to do, right? Or you're resting. You have the Queen of Swords reversed. Don't know what that card means, but I want to check that out. And you have the Seven of Pentacles that's upright, which means that it's say about your career. So you're thinking about your career, you're thinking about how that was. But this is insane when I said about the levers here, and now you get the levers there. Like that's how it is. So it's no coincidence. This is no accidental. But I want to see how that is. What the opposite of that card is. the death card is release. Yeah, see, you're going to release about the endings. Like this is not an ending. This is like a maybe a new beginning. You know, everything will be all, you know, situated. You could be dealing with a Scorpio, right? So you could be dealing with another Scorpio, or you could be dealing with another um, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, you know, or another Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus, you know, in the same way, right? So you understand how that was, um, because this is a logical explanation. But I want to see it. I want to see what's the opposite of the lovers, you know, and I'll do this again. And let's see how that was. I will maybe do the dice probably at the end, so I'm just going to do this. I'm only going to see what that is. I'll do that eventually. But this is what the universe is saying. So the judgment, yeah, see, you're being judged by your lovers, right? Because, you know, being a lover or, you know, you're being judged by that. But then over here, you have the moon that's reversed. See, so this is how it was. Then you have the world that's completion, right? So you're getting everything all completed. Then you have the two of coins, which means that you're trying to balance two things at once, right? Like relationship or whatever it is. But see, this moon card that's reversed, see, this is a very interesting biological way. Let's see how that is. So the Eight of Wands reversed is there is no chaos. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so there's no chaos. All right. So you're trying to figure this out. You're trying to understand what was happening. Okay. Is there anything that was the opposite of that card, please? For Virgo? The Three of Pentacles, that's reversed. Okay, so this is not, you don't have the third party with you. Okay, so it's basically you're only the one person who is believing about this. Okay, kind of getting somewhere. Okay, what's opposite about that card, please? The King of Wands is upright. Yeah, which means that you could be dealing with another Leo. So Leo, Aries, Sagittarius in some way, somehow. So this is whole entire feeling like you could be in love with another, you know, Scorpio in some way and somehow. Um, you know, it's the way of how it could be, you know, distinguished, something like that. I want to see what's opposite of that King of Wands. The Knight of Wands reverses. There's no fear. Okay, so you're not having fear. You're not having fear. What's opposite about that card, please? The Three of Wands is upright. Yeah, so you could be dealing with another fire sign. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So this is a very explanation where you could be, you know, understanding that there is a way of you're being judged. You don't know what to do, and you know, it's you have to take yourself into your own action. Um, this is what the universe is saying because this is how it's going to be, you know, and this is how it's going to be. So in that way, this is the way of how it goes. So Want to see what the dice is saying? So you have a 2 and the 4 and the 6. Um, it could be, so it could be February, March, it could be June. Those the months could come up. The numbers, it could be the birthdays, or it could be not. So 6 plus 4 is 10, and 10 plus 2 is 12. So you have 12. Um, it could be, you know, March 12th. It could be February 12th. It could be June 12th. So in this way of how the cards are saying, um, but you have to look at your own logical explanation of how it is. This is how it's gonna be. And there are two sides of a story here, but understand that yes, you could have a love and hate relationship, but you have to get over it somehow. This is how it seems to be, and I know how it is, but you have to figure out your own self. That's what the cards are saying. Not to be rude or mean, but this is how it is. So, before I let you go, pay attention. I hope that this reading helps you understand about how it is, and I hope everything seems to be fine. So, give it a like, give it a comment, and I'll see you next time as it goes along. So, thank you very much. Have a